Here's how I profitably spend over £10,000 a month on adverts on Instagram alone. I'm going to break down for you the exact principles, the frameworks, and everything that I do to make that work. Now, if anybody doesn't know me, my name is Alexandros. For short, most people call me Alexi. I run my own marketing agency. We've been up and running for about 4 years now. We've helped over 60 coaches generate over 7 figures in revenue. And what I share with the coaches that I help is something that we apply into my business as well. So I'm walking the talk essentially. Now, when it comes to advertising successfully on platforms like Instagram, there are very, very few things that you need. Number one, you have to intimately understand your avatar, which I'll get into in a moment. Number two, you need to have the process dialed in of the customer journey, essentially, of how that person is going to go from a lead all the way to a customer. And number three, you need to work on your conversion on the back end. So let me break down really how those work. I live in Dubai. So I've currently left Dubai. As you can see, I'm in Athens by the backdrop. But I've definitely had one of the most unsettling months of my personal life, definitely, with everything that was going on in the UAE and the fact I decided anyway that I wanted to just remove myself from that situation. So it's been an unsettling time in my life. But even with that in place, I've still been able to consistently get a return off of my ad spend, and things haven't changed. And this is the power of advertising when you know what you're doing and how to do it. So the first thing to obviously know is the niche, right? How does that work? Now, in terms of the niche and the ICP, most people should understand this, but you should always have one avatar that you're targeting, that you're speaking to. And the reason for that is because you can make your messaging way more effective and way more congruent to who you're trying to attract, which makes them more likely to click, etc. Now, the most important thing about the niche though, because everybody knows the basic niche stuff, the most important thing about the niche is the level of awareness of the customer that you're speaking to. So what a lot of people don't consider when they're advertising is, are they speaking to a customer who is ready for help and looking for help? Now, what I see a lot of people doing, especially on lower spend, if you're under £10,000 a month, your budget isn't going to go massively far, but you can get some fantastic results with that. But what you should be thinking about within your niche is, who is the type of customer that is looking for help, who is ready for help, and who is ready to make change in their lives. And those are the types of people that you need to speak to. A lot of mistakes that people make when it comes to their niche and when they're advertising to their niche is that they will talk to people who aren't consciously aware that they have a problem, aren't consciously looking for help. They say things in their adverts that the target avatar doesn't particularly resonate with or understand at that point in their journey. So that's the first thing about successfully advertising, and why my adverts are able to bring me a consistent return on that £10,000 a month that I spend, is because, like I say, very simply, we are speaking to people who are in the market for help, who understand that they have a problem and who are looking for solutions. So what that means is, once we get people onto a sales call, it means that they are people who are, like I say, very simply, looking for help, looking for a solution, and they're more open to that conversation. It's not like a super cold sell where we have to convince them that they need it. We have to convince them that they have the problem. They know what they have, they're looking for a solution, we're putting them in front of us so we can talk to them. And then that leads me to my next point, right? Once you've got that understanding in place, that obviously helps you with your advertising in general. So you know exactly what you need to say, exactly how to say it, what to say in your adverts in terms of who to call out within your market, what to offer them, etc. And then that leads to the next point of the customer journey. So the most important thing, and the thing that most people get wrong about advertising, especially coaches, is that when you start advertising, you have to take somebody all the way through the flow correctly to the call to be able to get them to convert. And a lot of people just think if they set up a good ad, people will magically convert, but that's just not how it works. And what a lot of people do is they set up ads, and their customer journey to get the person onto a call is crap. So what I mean by that is, for example, setting up an email sequence, right, from off the back of a free guide is not going to get somebody to want to convert into a call or to get them to book a call. Offering a free training, again, with just an email sequence to nurture them, and then just hoping that they magically book in a call, again, isn't going to work. So I've seen two types of campaigns work best, which are what I actively apply and what I actively recommend my clients do as well, which gives you the best customer journey and the best likelihood of somebody turning up to the call, somebody having trust before they come onto the call, and building that connection essentially. The first one is follower ads. So essentially these are adverts where you optimize for people to follow your page. Now, the reason these work as a customer journey flow is because people click on the ad, they come onto your page, and the page sells them on you. You then DM them and book them in and you have a conversation with them there, which qualifies them, builds a connection, and gets them booked in for a call. Then if you have an automation in place which nurtures that lead and sends them reminders and sends them assets to watch before the call, that helps with show rate. And then by the time that somebody's got on that call with you, they've had so many touch points. They've seen your ads, they've seen all of your content, they've spoke with you or your appointment setter in the DMs, and then they've been nurtured by a reminder sequence and by videos which break down what you do and who you are and how you work. That as a customer journey flow is 10 times better than getting somebody to opt into a free guide and then hoping that they reply to an email and booking a call. So that's the first ad campaign that I've seen work best in terms of a customer journey flow. The second one I found is, again, if you remember when I said to the niche, it's about speaking to people who are looking for help and actively looking for a solution, is doing adverts where you get people to directly book in a call with you. So it's an advert which takes them to a landing page which has a video on which they can watch. They can then opt in to apply to book a call with you, so you capture their information. Then once they've given you their information, they get redirected to a calendar to book in a call with you. If they don't book in a call with you, then very simply what you can do is call them, because you now have their details to book them in. And then once they're booked in, same thing, you send them a reminder sequence and a value sequence to nurture them and to warm them up to then get them booked in for a call. These are the best customer journeys and flows. And what I've seen works best in terms of off of the back of advertising to get somebody to book in that call and have that conversation and then sign up for higher ticket is you need multiple touch points in different ways. So whether that be a reminder sequence, whether that be a phone call and a reminder sequence, whether that be a video that they have to watch to then book in a call, you need multiple touch points in terms of that thing to build that trust and that connection. Then it's also having videos and assets that you can send those people to nurture them, to build trust with them, and to help them to understand what your service is and what your results are as well, most importantly. And lastly, the other thing that I've seen to work really well is doing retargeting adverts. So what we do as well is once people have opted in or they've engaged with us in some way, shape or form, we send them retargeting adverts of just testimonials and results. So every day that they go back onto social media before they have that conversation with us, they are seeing tons of results of our clients saying they've done this, they've done that, they've achieved this much, they've got this much revenue, etc. So it's really, really important. And then obviously the last thing is actually the conversion process, like I said. So the thing is, a big mistake that people make when it comes to advertising is they confuse an advertising issue with a conversion issue. So if you're getting leads that are good quality, that are in your ICP and they're booking in calls and they're showing up to the call, but they're not converting, that's not because your advert is broken. That's because your sales process is broken, or your sales skills aren't great, or you just don't have that part of the process dialed in. So another way that we've been able to spend £10,000 a month profitably is because we have that part of the process knuckled down. So it's really important that you track your metrics and your data. And tracking my data and understanding my numbers has allowed me to increase my ad spend to this point successfully, because I can now see my cost per lead, my opt-in rate, my cost per booked call, my show-up rate, and my conversion rate. So now what that means is when you're advertising, if you see, for example, when you're tracking your numbers that your show rate is low, that doesn't mean you've got a bad ad. That just means that your process to get them to show up is bad. If, again, you track your numbers and you see that your close rate is only 10%, again, that doesn't mean you've got a bad ad. That just means that your sales process is also bad. So it's really important that when you're advertising, when you're looking to ramp up your ad spend, you understand your metrics of conversion, and you can see them on a dashboard, which means that you're non-emotional about it. It means that you're not in your head wondering. There's hard, raw data to back up what's low and why. And then you go and fix that issue. So again, like for us, a recent issue that we have had on how we solved it was very simply conversion rate. So we were getting tons of leads. The leads were booking in for calls. The calls were showing up, and we just wasn't converting as high as we wanted to. We were converting at 15%. Now that still meant though that our ads were very profitable just because of our ticket price. However, what that meant was we were leaving money on the table. Now instead of me going, oh, the ads are not working, I'm not converting, so I'm not getting a return on my ad spend, I looked at my data and I was like, no, the issue here is that I'm not converting them. So what did I do? I signed up for help to increase our sales conversion, and then our conversion increased. It's very, very simple, and that is all it takes to profitably advertise. And it's how I spend £10,000 a month profitably every single month advertising on Instagram. In my messaging, I speak to a portion of the market who is problem aware or solution aware. They know they've got an issue or they know that there are solutions to that issue. I then make sure that my customer journey from the advert to the sales call is immaculate, to make sure that they show up and they're qualified. That looks like different touch points, DMs, phone calls, emails, assets that I send to them to nurture them, that tell them about my results, who I am and what I do, and retargeting ads to stay in front of them every single day with results. And then it's also about understanding that just because you're not converting doesn't mean that the ad isn't working. It means that your conversion isn't working. So it's also about tracking that data and understanding your numbers. And the key metrics that you need to understand are cost per lead, cost per booked call, show rate, close rate, and cost per acquisition. If you track those properly, you will successfully advertise month on month. I mean, I've probably made that sound very simple, but it's what I've spent the last 4 years learning, and it's how I've been able now with my business to spend £10,000 a month profitably, and every single month we increase that ad spend because every single month we get a return on that. So that is how to profitably advertise. If you want to see how we properly track our data and some examples of our ad campaigns, very simply, my Instagram's below. Give me a follow and message YouTube, and I'll send you something to help you out with that.